Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. Apparently, it's Mother's Day. Wish someone would have told me. No. Happy Mother's Day. Bear with me because it's been a while since I have preached. I'm a little bit nervous. Could mean I talk really fast and it'll be over really quick. Okay, so before I get started, I want to do a quick survey and just ask everyone in here, if you are a mother, to please stand up. Okay, now think back to when your first baby was born, and if this next thing is true, you'll remain standing. If you felt like you were completely ready to be a mom, and if you felt like you knew what you were doing and you were totally prepared for that enormous responsibility, if that was you, stay standing. If you weren't ready, then you can sit down. Okay. That's kind of what I thought, but I wasn't positive. So, I do remember when I first became a father, when I definitely did not feel ready for that. When we were leaving the hospital, I tell this story all the time, so y'all probably heard this before, where the nurse takes us downstairs and we're going out to the car, and I actually got into an argument with the nurse. I was like, how are you letting us just take this baby? I'm like, I had to take classes and I had to take a test before y'all let me drive. And you're just going to give me this baby to take home? I mean, I was certain that Ryan would not survive us. He did, you know. So anyways, okay. So, well, I will get back to that in a little bit. But right now, let me start the actual sermon. So Pastor Peter asked me, I'm not sure how long ago, several weeks ago, if I would preach on Mother's Day. And I said yes. So I did know it was Mother's Day. I was just kidding when I said that. So I said yes, and I thought, hey, I got a whole lot of time to come up with a sermon. Mother's Day, that should be something that's really easy to come up with a topic. Well, maybe it's easy for some, but for me it's not. Several weeks was not enough time. I prayed, I pondered on what to preach on, and I think I was led to the fifth commandment: honor your father and mother. A little frustrated I was led there because it was really hard on this one. So I looked at the commandment, and in the context of all the other commandments, it just seemed strange to me. So a lot of the other ones are pretty obvious. Don't murder, don't lie, don't covet. This one, honor your mother. Why was this so important to God? This was so important to God, it made the top 10, okay? And this one comes with a promise. It says, so that it may go well with you, and that you may enjoy a long life on the earth. So I'm like, what is that all about? Is that a bunch of baloney? This promise can't be true. After all, I know people who, as far as I can tell, honored their mother and father, and they did not have a long life. So it took me a while to even start to understand. But this is what I believe the scriptures are saying. So the first point, family is the foundation of society. This commandment is ultimately about family. If you do a Google search for quotes on family, you'll see this is kind of an idea that's well understood across the board. So Ronald Reagan said, families stand at the center of society, so building our future must begin by preserving family values. Barack Obama He said, of all the rocks upon which we build our lives, we are reminded today that family is the most important. Pope John the 23rd, the family is the first essential cell of human society. I like this one from C.S. Lewis. He said, homemaking is surely, in reality, the most important work in the world. What do ships, railways, mines, cars, governments, etc. exist for except that people may be fed, warmed, and safe in their own homes? The homemaker's job is one for which all others exist. G.K. Chesterton said, the most extraordinary thing in the world is an ordinary man and an ordinary woman and their ordinary children. Winston Churchill, I'm almost done with quotes, by the way. Winston Churchill said, there is no doubt that it is around the family and the home that all the greatest values, the most dominating virtues of human society are created, strengthened, and maintained. And the last one is from Mother Teresa. What can you do to promote world peace? Go home and love your family. Okay, you may be saying. Lots of people say family's important, but why? What's the big deal? We all technically have a mother. We all technically have a father. So I guess we all technically have a family. But if that were it, God wouldn't need to command us to honor our mothers. This commandment reveals to us the importance of the family as God designed it. God designed the family in the following ways for the following purposes. This is not exhaustive. There are books for that. This is just a brief overview. But by God's design, family is a mother, a father, and children. Genesis 2:24, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. By God's design, it's through the family that the next generation is created. Genesis 1:28, be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. By God's design, it is through family that the next generation is educated. Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. By God's design, it is through the family that the next generation learns respect for authority, as evidenced by this very commandment. By God's design, it is through family that all of us receive primary care and support, obviously as children, but also in our old age and in times of trouble. 1 Timothy 5:8, but if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those in his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Under this design, it becomes clear how family is the foundation of society. It's through family that all the future generations come, how they are imparted morals and values, how they are educated, how they learn to respect and obey authority. But here's where I think we start running into issues. First issue, actually, I'm going to start this with a story. This is a story. It originated with C.S. Lewis, and there's several different versions, so this isn't quoted out of any of them. It's me paraphrasing them. So there's this man named John. He goes into a restaurant and he orders some milk. When he tastes the milk, he comments how delicious it is. The waiter remarks, well, the milk is just a secretion from a cow, just like urine or sweat. John is a little troubled by this remark, but he He can't think of a logical rebuttal. He then orders some eggs. After trying them, he comments how delicious they are. The waiter remarks this time by saying, well, eggs are simply the byproduct of a chicken, the menstruum of a verminous fowl. Troubled by this statement, also, John considers the idea further. Finally, something snaps in his head, and he lets out a heavy sigh. Then he says, "Thank heaven. Now at last I know that you are talking nonsense. You are trying to pretend that unlike things are like. You are trying to make me think that milk is the same sort of thing as urine or sweat." The waiter responds that it is only the custom of society that makes it one way or the other. John responds, "Are you a liar or only a fool, that you see no difference between that which nature casts out as refuse and that which she stores up as food? This is the way it is. By God's design, the body creates milk for nutrition and sustenance. And by God's design, the body creates urine as waste or refuse. God created the family for his own designs. But oftentimes nowadays, people want to define family any way they want. Society may say, well, family is just a group of people that love each other. But that's not how God defined family. Society may say, two men can marry each other. That can be a family. But God designed family to be composed of a husband and a wife. It's like this. Family is a tool created by God for mankind for a specific purpose. Sometimes you can use tools for things they're not designed for. I've used chairs as stools. The chairs are meant for sitting, but I'm standing on them. I've also stepped through a chair or two. And you better be careful if you're standing on a chair that has wheels. I've tried using the wrong screwdriver on a screw and stripped the screw. Family, in this sense, cannot be whatever we want it to be. Otherwise, the word doesn't mean anything. I can call anything I want a stool, and then the word stool doesn't mean anything. And I'm eventually going to hurt myself. So what happens when family is replaced? When someone says, you don't need a mother and a father. When we rely only on the government to educate the next generation. When we rely only on the government to support others in hard times and in old age. When public school teachers are the only ones teaching the next generation their morals and values. When the next generation is never taught to respect authority. At first, nothing happens. It's like a table with 100 legs. If you knock off one of the legs, it's still fine. You knock off another leg, it's still pretty sturdy. But eventually, you knock off enough legs, the table's going to fall. And this is where it appears the promise from the fifth commandment comes in. It's not a promise to individuals. If it was, God would prove himself to be a liar. But rather, it's a promise to a society that obeys this command. If society as a whole honors its mothers and fathers, then that society will prosper, and those in it, it will go well with them, and they will enjoy long life on the earth. So my second point, what does all this mean for the mothers here this morning? This is Mother's Day. Regardless of how good or bad you have been as a mother, act now as a mother worthy of honor. The fifth commandment commands us to honor our mothers, and I say it also calls mothers, well, and fathers, but it's Mother's Day. It also calls mothers to act in a way worthy of honor. This goes back to that story I mentioned in the beginning about being totally unprepared for our first child. We were not prepared. We took our job seriously. We learned along the way. Mothers and fathers will always mess up along the way. Hopefully, those mess ups are small. Hopefully, they're just the result of inexperience or naivete, but it's not always. Sometimes parents make bad decisions. Sometimes we're selfish. Sometimes we're short-sighted. Sometimes we act or react out of anger or fear. Maybe you have a little bit of guilt. Maybe you're overwhelmed with guilt or even shame. But none of that is an excuse for not acting worthy of honor now. If you have fallen down, get up. And the third point, what does this mean for all of us? Regardless of how good or bad your mother has been, honor your mother. This isn't a recommendation. This is commanded by God. This is a necessary part of God's design for families. Whether your mom is still alive or has passed away, whether your mom went to all of your school functions or was lost in a bottle, whether your mom was home every day or whether you never knew your mom, whether she lifted you up with praise and encouragement, or whether she let you know you could never do anything right. I'm reminded of the kickoff for our 30-day prayer challenge that we're in the middle of. One of the pastors, I don't remember which one, I think it was the first one that talked. One of the pastors was talking about the part of the Bible where the Israelites are fighting. They're fighting in a battle, and Moses is up on a hill, or maybe it's a mountain, and he's holding up his staff. And as long as he's holding up his staff, the Israelites are winning the fight. When he lowers his staff, the Israelites start losing. When Moses was unable to hold up his staff with his own strength, Aaron and Hur, H-U-R, not H-E-R, Hur, helped Moses by holding up his arms. I think that's what we're supposed to be doing with our mothers. You help hold her arms up when you honor her. The responsibility that mothers have is a heavy burden. Some moms bear that burden better than others, but they will all be held accountable for that responsibility. And each of us will be held accountable for our responsibility to honor them and to help them bear that burden. So obey God. Honor your mother, regardless of how well or poorly she has handled that burden.